So, as things stand, coming into the 4th round, things are not looking good for Valas. Valas needs more wins, sitting at only 2. Hearttt is at 6 wins, which is very solid to get into the playoff position if he brings a good performance today. But I think first place is going to be tough for him. He would essentially need a sweep in this series and then a victory over Dark in the final round 2-1 to get first place. So if you think about it and you think Valas is the big underdog here, maybe that's realistic. But I'm going to put, even though it feels like it's a comparison because they're both Finnish, but I promise you it's not. But Veleza in another group had a really slow start, and it was so slow that it put him too far behind. But then the previous round, he looked really good. He looked really good shape all of a sudden, and he got a win off of Harrow, right? I think Valas has kind of been the same for me. I know he was way less active on the game. He wasn't playing the game as much. I think he took some time to get back into shape. And by the time he's maybe at his best shape, maybe we're here now, and now he's expected to get all these wins to recover. So I think Heartt's definitely the player I would have expected more of in this series and in this season, but I think we'll see a better version of Valas today than we saw the first couple weeks. Now, Vietnamese for Hearttt, and he's actually moving forward right away. This is the first time I've seen Vietnamese picked on this map, so you know where the opponent's TC is. And so he moves forward to lame a little bit, steals some pigs. And interesting choice. I mean, we have seen players struggle to find the opponent's TC spots on this map. And so knowing where your opponent's TC spot should also tell you where the opponent's dock position is. Should it not? Like, if you look at this and you see the TC is there, you almost always know they're going to dock the back corner. I kind of like this. I don't think it's necessarily worth a first pick on the draft, because I think there's other civs that can be, they have more strengths for this map if you're going to go heavy priority. But Hearttt probably drafted some other civilizations first and second for the other maps. This is, in theory, pretty good decision here from Hearttt. We'll see. Like, Valas is probably not going to have the same level of scouting. And maybe there'll be a situation where Valas doesn't see the dock, doesn't know about the TC, and it becomes a little bit more clear. Call says Veleza had a solid top 10 era. Was Valas that guy at some point? I think Valas' the best level that he's shown is put him in the top 16 here or there. Veleza's definitely, I mean, Veleza was in my top 5 at some point. So I do think there's a difference when comparing those two Finns. But what I really like about Valas is that he's really solid on regular maps, like open aggressive maps. But then he's insane on closed maps. So when it came to TTL, the reason that he's done well is because he could almost always win his home map, and he could still put up a really reasonable fight on the other maps. But so far this season, he hasn't put up reasonable fights on the other maps. So I think Byzantines is also a really good pick for him, because he'll probably play this pretty defensive as a player. And then Vietnamese have more offensive bonuses, so kind of clicks with Hearttt strengths as well. But yeah, I mean, the Finns don't have many players, but they've got a lot of players who have done a lot of big things in the scene. I would just say that Valas kind of felt to me in this group that I just haven't seen as much from him in 2024. You have to remember, when Titans League Season 3 ended, it was like, was it a year and a half ago, maybe? So future seasons, for as long as this project continues, the goal is to have 6-month gaps. And so with only a 6-month gap, is the literally the bonus I was talking about already proves itself, right? The scout goes down for Valas. He didn't know where the TC was. He now doesn't know about the dock position or anything, and Hearttt had all that information. So Vietnamese look amazing now. But yeah, to finish my thought, there was such a gap that certain players became less active in that period. So someone asked me this the other day. I think it's right. The next season of Titans League should be more competitive in both leagues, in my opinion, because everything's happened more recently, and players are in their positions based on recent performances. So, but yeah, so I've got kind of these negative vibes about Valas. You know, not sure if he's necessarily the player he was, or maybe other people have passed him, but I remember how good he was before, and here he comes with a Vil. So his Vil is walking across the map, and Hearttt sees this, and Hearttt is going to use the fishing ships to try and block the dock foundation. Now, he doesn't get that down, but the quick walls are down for Valas. That's crazy. Now, can he build the dock? Wait! The villager was actually getting hit by Hearttt there. The fishing ship block paid off, and the quick walls happen again! Hearttt, get your fish, dude! Get your fishing ships over here fast. Oh my god, what a quick wall. This is amazing for Byzantines. If the Byzantines can complete a dock on your pond, you are going to have an absolute nightmare. And the scout went down, and Valas gets here anyways. I mean, talk about a frustrating situation here for Hearttt. I mean, he'll make a fire galley, but that dock's going to complete. And who knows how many fire galleys could come out from the best fire galley civ in the game. Hearttt wasn't on gold, so he can't immediately make a lot of them. But he can make the first one. And Valas completes the dock and saves the Vil. Hearttt is still just going to attack there, but it's not what Hearttt would have wanted. He literally was placing this wall to block that possibility from happening. And Valas gets rewarded anyways. You also can't damage that Vil with the fire galley, because the palisades and the dock block it. There's no way to do damage to that Vil. And the crazy thing is Valas can still repair his fire through that area, I think. So somehow there's no damage from the fire, but you could still repair, I think. Anyways, Hearttt backs away. Heartt's probably annoyed. And look at all the docks going up here for Valas. Valas also walking a Vil to the north. There's also a villager coming to the south. Wow, I expected Valas to wall a little bit more. He's really just sending the Vils across the map. This is sick. Hearttt is investing all of his fires into just defense now. When the Byzantine docks have more HP and when the Byzantine fires fire faster, it's a really awkward position. And he has not really been able to move forward too actively with his scouts. Finally just leaves with that scout. He'll dock in the north, but look at Valas, guys. He sees this. I don't know if he's able to focus on all this at once, because there's a million things happening, but he could wall in that Vil and trap it and kill it. Oh, but Hearttt noticed. And well played from Hearttt. So sometimes you don't see players playing this competitively for the pawns on this map, but it seems to be the approach for Valas. Walling up fully on this side. But now Heartt's military is becoming a little bit of a problem. Fire galleys also being repaired by Hearttt. Valas has a lot to focus on. Also brought the villager this direction to get the repairs in. So I think I was wrong. I think you can't repair through the diagonal. And Hearttt already killed one Vil and is going to kill... Oh, sorry. No, that's the first kill from Hearttt. I think we just missed that. A kill from Valas. Gold is an absolute nightmare for Valas. He had spears, but they're not in position. There's too much to wall up. And there's also still much to look at right now, but... Man, what a scrappy game so far. I know, like, some people really like lots of variety in the types of units you see, and Cross may not necessarily have that. But I don't think there is a map where you've seen the same types of units every single time with so much variety in how the map can be played. Quite like this. There's so many different things to manage. Sometimes you'll see players just stick with one pond and go scouts and archers. Other times you have players YOLOing villagers like this into every pond they can. But Hearttt is going primary. His primary focus is land. And so spear defense felt natural for Valas for a time. But now he's going to need something to help with the archers. Heartt's already farming. Hearttt still hasn't lost his fishing ships in this location. And can Valas stop this? It feels really difficult. The spearmen are not going to be enough. Hearttt running through. Valas dropping a tower. The walls from Valas are there. They'll lose one Vil. And tower will complete. Honestly, I think what could be decent for Valas here. Obviously, skirms feels natural, but I wonder with all the fishing if he could eventually justify some scouts. Heartt's just so good at finding the damage. 10 to 5 KD for Hearttt. And still just maintaining his fish here. You just don't want to lose it right away. And, well, yikes. The villager doesn't get any repairs because he looks away for a second, and maybe he'll start to lose fish there. There's skirms, there's spears, there's a tower. Most of the food income for Valas is going to be fish now. And he might be able to really get to a dangerous amount of fishing ships. He'll have the north locked down. He'll have the south locked down. It's just, can he fish while also defending on land? So many different areas of the map to look at right now. I think this game is going to be really close. I think Hearttt is going to end up losing his fish eventually, because Valas will never give him this. And Doc is blocking, Valas repairing, Hearttt backing away. Valas is going to stabilize on land here with these skirms and spears. But then Hearttt will somehow reach Castle Age faster and be able to get to the town centers. Like, Heartt's got a lot of time to farm, take berries, and get food without the fish right now. But the long-term potential of Valas is crazy here, if he can manage it all. It's just so tough. Like, he just can't keep up with the fine details here. 2 more spearmen going down. And that's just because he's probably looking at his ponds, adding fishing ships, adding fish down here. I could still fish in the north. Res collected 700 resources higher for Hearttt, and he's only had 5 fishing ships. Just because the efficiency of everything. And I like how he's played his own ponds. I think a lot of players would go 2 docks to try and defend there, and then they can't do a lot on land. I like the choices here from Hearttt. But that's an amazing engagement for Valas. The fish are going to be roasted for Hearttt, so it's going to be 0 fishing ships for Hearttt. Maybe even 0 ponds. And then Valas is going to have all 4 ponds. But he still isn't clicked up. Hearttt runs underneath the tower here. Here he's got the archers and the scouts to control. Valas only has 10 fish. Could honestly be like 30 in this game with the amount of fish control he has. This is getting really scrappy. Really tough to control. But it feels like Hearttt should probably siege push or something. Like, 4 pawns for Byzantines is crazy. Heartt's not really a siege push type of guy, though, and he's getting enough damage with his army right now. He might just drop the town centers as quickly as possible. Valas has a slightly easier job than he's had. Still is focusing here, but, like, this is an army that I think is okay to focus down Hearttt. I don't know, though. I keep thinking he's going to have enough. He might keep thinking he's going to have enough, and Hearttt just brings in another group. Scout archer control is crazy for him right now. I wish in Capture Age I could tell how many units of a certain type was produced during the game and not afterwards. Because, like, if I could tell you right now, that'd be incredible. He must have had over 10 spears this game. Every time I look, Valas is losing another spear. Hearttt reaches Castle Age. Again, still has 0 fishing ships. And there's a monastery from Hearttt. Interesting. Kind of a weird place, but Valas is concerned. Valas will drop another tower. All his food eco is pretty much going to be on those pawns here, but he's holding here. The tower's a great call against Bodkin and Crossbow. The tower will complete. Hearttt might not want to stick around here. He'll dive. He knows he needs damage, but doesn't that mean he loses all of his crossbows here? I think he will. Valas' tower takes out the scouts. If Hearttt tries to move away here, he'll also run into the tower fire. And Valas, 4 pawns on cross, which never happens. In Castle Age, nice eco lead, and he's Byzantine. He's Byzantine, so he has enough vision to see the push with his houses. That's crazy. And Hearttt now drops TC number 2. But, like, Dash kind of coined the phrase TPD, triple pawn domination. It's the rare QPD. Quadruple pawn domination for Valas. That's sick. Elite skirm's on the way. He does need to back away here. There's a knight there from Hearttt. Normally, you don't want to engage against monks with camels, but I think with 3 camels, you can kill off that monk before a conversion comes in, and that's such a good find. It's a tough feeling now if you're Hearttt, because you're just like, I probably don't have the eco lead. This is a big investment, and now it's not going to get going. The only positive for him is it's a simpler game for him now. In that it's pretty clear on what he needs to control. And for Valas, there's like 6 different areas of the map he can look at to make the most of his situation. For Hearttt, it's just Arabia now. And you just got to treat it as such. I think Valas, if he had slightly better micro, would absolutely dominate this game. But he has struggled getting the upgrades and the numbers in and taking some of these fights. Here's another example of it. Hearttt just looks so comfortable diving in against these armies. Valas just always needs to wait for that extra unit. A skirmisher here, a spearman there going down. Now, this push is pretty much dead, but it does mean that Valas has to stay there. And now Heartt's going to try a push from the other side now. That's fully upgraded, at least with armor and attack skirms now from Valas, though. And again, Valas can see the push because he's Byzantine, so you can't really surprise the opponent here. Mavor says Hearttt can't win this no matter what. I think Hearttt is going to disagree with that statement here, man. Now, as I say that, he's probably going to lose everything, but Res Collected is super close. He's got a really healthy 3 TC eco behind this. And it's winnable, in my opinion. Is it usually winnable? No. But Heartt's got a good position considering. That fishing eco will get slowly worse over time. You need to add fish traps eventually, too. It's not an easy situation to be in. But against Byzantines, when they see everything you do, when there's so many cheap counter units, it could be really difficult. But there's Valas again. He's going to dive here, guys. He's going to dive. He won't get the mangonel. Hearttt lands a shot. 60 eco for both. 80 pop for both. What a game. 2 TCs for Valas. Still, this is just idle army over here, but he has to respect that. Another monk down for Valas. And Hearttt is just taking some crazy good engagements. The fact that he's 3 TCs behind all of this is ridiculous. And Valas isn't going to believe it either. Valas is going to see the score and think, oh, I'm still ahead. But like you feel this as a player. Like, you've had all these upgrades and armies for so long, and Hearttt is just completely smashing him anyways. I think Hearttt wins this game, guys. And I say that because of how good he's played, not because of the units that are actually on the field. We've got +2 armor for Valas. You don't get bloodlines with Byzantines, but he'll clear up the siege. And yeah, picked a really bad time to say Hearttt was going to win the game. +2 is a big deal. The skirms are behind. And another siege monk push is not going to do a lot. Unless Hearttt continues to stick around. Unless Hearttt can be back with more army. This army's still here, which is hilarious. Yeah, like, I'm really surprised. Like, Valas should be jumping on those crossbows there. I think he's too busy doing everything else. He can't quite manage that. So if he were to jump on that army immediately, he probably doesn't add the farming eco and get the upgrades he's getting right now. It's a close game. Hearttt is rising in the Res Collected lead, too. At his 3rd Siege Workshop now, because why not? Has the eco to make more siege. Has the eco to make more knights. Has the eco to maybe get ballistics for these crossbows. The big thing you got to think about when the Byzantines are involved, though, is the imp timing. The imp timing and the castles. And we're getting closer to that conversation. Beautiful micro from Valas. Keeps the monk alive. And more range is coming up for him now. Yeah, this is where Hearttt needs a big pushback. This is starting to get dangerous. The siege will be there. And Valas now needs to back away. Or out-micro it. If he has it in him. He should. He doesn't leave the hill. He's confident. And he's got the monks here as well to protect against any knights. And also to heal up. Byzantine healing is also insane. They've got so many bonuses. Dang, Valas is clicking now. Valas is like, I'm not scared of you. Before he was struggling. Now he's... Seems like he's confident in every engagement. Great split micro. Monks are there for the conversions. Conversion actually happens. Mangonel may go down because of it. Hearttt loses the Mangonel. He lands a pretty decent shot. But Ballistics is in on these skirms for Valas, so a lot of Heartt's crossbows are getting picked off. And Hearttt, I think he needed an engagement that was slightly better than that. What a crazy game. Also, random market there from Valas. And, I mean, has this game... Have you seen a game that's been closer on this map? This is crazy, man. It was 60 pop versus 60 pop, then 80 pop versus 80 pop, then 100 versus 100, and now it's 120 versus 125. And still could easily go either way, but you've got to be thinking Byzantines are the superior civ here, and Byzantines should be able to get the job done, but Hearttt saves the Mangonel. And this is getting dangerous. Hearttt is on the way to imp before Byzantines. Well, at the same time as Byzantines. Crazy. All right, like what can you do in both players' situations? Well, the one thing is outposting, which they're both doing to get vision around the map. Castle positions could be huge here. You don't normally want to forward castle Byzantines, but with the way this game is going, I like the idea behind some type of pressure if you're Hearttt. You could eventually see raids, but a camel and a scout raid isn't necessarily the best raid ever. Valas now dropping a defensive castle and giving up the hill. See, this is the hill I think Hearttt could castle. Now, again, like, the fishing ships just get worse and worse and worse and worse. So imagine having to fish trap all of these pawns separately while also doing everything else. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to do it. It's not going to be possible. Range goes down for Valas. He was researching crossbow there. So maybe he'll skip that. We'll see. And the camels do get some damage in, at least in terms of idle time. 15 idles there for Hearttt. Army has to go back to deal with that. That's good for Valas. It would be hilarious if Valas made a Draman in 3 of these pawns, but as fun as that is, guys, I don't think that's got to be high up on the priority list. That's like... Yeah, that's at the bottom of the to-do list. What a game from both. 140 pop now for both. Eco count similar, but resources collected count still rising for Hearttt. The thing is, though, it's like, how much does that matter against Byzantines? Byzantine units are so cheap. It's so tough. Heartt's bonuses, I think the reason he picked this civ was to end this game early. But we've got Imp Skirm. Forgot about that one. So Byzantines usually win the skirm fight, but Vietnamese skirms, strongest skirms in the game. I mean, unless Aztec skirms and Mayan skirms have something to say about it, but does anyone actually know? Do Imp skirms beat all other skirms, or do Mayan skirms somehow win? I think Imp skirms should be better. More HP. I guess there's Dravidian skirms. I don't know. Aztec skirms have the range, too. I guess it's quality over quantity here. And Valas is going to be hoping for the quantity. But this is rough, man. Like, Hearttt has more skirms. Hearttt has superior skirms. Hearttt has a treb already. Heartt's flying. He's flying with skirms. But he's flying. He's taking Valas off of all of this stone. Valas will have more stone over here and is building another defensive castle, but Hearttt now 30 population lead. I wonder how much of that is conscription being free. Probably not as significant as you might think. I think the bigger thing is just being the engagements and the production he's had before that, but still. Love it from Hearttt. I also like he's been somewhat patient. Like, I think if you're not against Byzantines, your castle would have gone a little bit further forward. But he's using his army and his trebs to basically control the map. And Valas is still waiting for a critical mass of skirms. Both civs get bombard cannon. And we do have a Drahman in production. I don't know from which dock, though. He's gonna make a Drahman in the back of Heartt's base. Let's go. Let's go. I guarantee you Heartt has never faced that before. Where were you when Heartt got raided by Drahmans in Imp? That's wild. Also, great hold from Valas. Bombard cannon, so super close to sniping the trap. Didn't get it. But still, it allows him to stabilize a little bit. Add a few more farms. Relax a little bit. And Heartt might need a cav switch, honestly. Heartt might need just stables everywhere and light cav. I would love to see the baller move of going for elephants, but I think that's too expensive. And I don't know if I've ever seen Heartt make a Vietnamese elephant before, but... Yeah, Drahman, I mean, that's a big deal. That's 4k gold, and Heartt can't do anything about it. Heartt might need to try and convert that with a monk. That's super annoying, man. And Valas holding on. Ooh, but Heartt swinging the Trebs this way. And even though he's Byzantines, I don't know if Valas is going to have the time to react to that. That's a great move from Heartt. Castles are so important in late game, right? And remember, Valas was pushed off of all this stone for a while, so he's not on that right now. Trebs are coming over from Valas. I'm sure a bombard cannon's rolling over as well. He needs to take this out. But Heartt's waited for 4 Trebs. He's even getting siege engineers. And, I mean, Valas doesn't have much here to stop this besides those 2 Trebs. That's going to be tough. He doesn't have stone income. Heartt pulls back the bombard cannon. This bombard cannon's got to loop the whole way around because Heartt's trying to stop the units from coming that way with those skirms. And now Valas is going for a skirm raid. So there he goes. I think Heartt added a dock here to deal with the Drahman. Dock gets denied, but the castle goes down. And Heartt has Cavalier in his plans. You kind of need food income for that. And a lot of his food income is going to be disrupted by these skirms. You also need gold income for that. And I don't know if his gold income is going to be good enough if the Drahman's there. The Drahman's protecting 2 golds and a relic. The Drahman's actually crazy. But you know what else is crazy is Imp Skirm Raid. We've got a Skirm Raid from both. Guys, stop raiding the opponent with Lycav and Hussars, okay? It's overrated. Raid with skirms. Right? Now, if your opponent makes Lycav against your raids and you lose everything, it's not my fault. It's Valas and Heartt's fault. Clearly, this is the superior play. Man, what an awkward situation to manage. Like, this is so messy. They both need Cav, but they both don't really have the food eco to add a lot of it. Also, sneaky stable here from Valas. Valas has more skirms. He's winning the skirm numbers. But he lost his castle. He's losing the front of his base. He'll lose his monastery. He'll lose his buildings. It's just pain, 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 and more pain. But again, the game remains somehow very close. Despite, like, how crazy this has looked for various players at certain times. Heartt cannot take, like, 5k gold and a relic because of the Drahmans on the water. That sneak dock still playing a role. My goodness. So I wanted to say I prefer Heartt's position, right? But, like, while I do, because I think his castle setup is better, he's not exactly going to win the game this very second. I mean, there's way too many skirms for him to deal with, so he needs to back out of here. This could be an expensive loss. Trebs could come from Valas to push this castle, potentially. Things could fall apart for Heartt. And Heartt doesn't have Cav resources. He doesn't have the armor. Like, Heartt is falling apart right now, guys. Heartt is falling apart. Now, he's going to bring some units over for these Trebs. But there's a bombard cannon in there that should die. And then his Trebs are out of position. And his castle is being Trebbed. And, I mean, Heartt has got to be panicking right now. He does have 25 skirms. And now there's 25 skirms for Valas. So maybe he does hold, actually, on this hill. But he'll lose this castle. I think this is a sign Valas needs gold, isn't it? Yeah, I can't take this gold. Heartt is on it. This gold he just built a mining camp, so clearly he's desperate. That might be most of his gold income right now. Yeah, and he can't take the stone either. Heartt's aware of all this. Heartt's aware of all this and has a 35 eco lead. And his food count's up to like 50 or so. He's got the castles where he needs them to protect from most raids. And maybe now he can actually end it with Cavalier. I was a little concerned because I thought he would lose the Trebs. And he would lose the castle, but there wasn't enough for Valas. I just don't think the skirms are as strong. What a win for Heartt. I mean, this got to the stage of the game where the Byzantines should be stronger. And, like, Heartt had multiple forwards get cleared. And he just kept coming. He was super consistent. He didn't have a single pond to work with. He doesn't have this gold in the back to work with. Like, but he's got everything across the middle right now. And Valas doesn't really have the gold. Doesn't really have access to these stones. And he does not have an answer to Cavalier. I mean, you can try and go Halb. But you're like 7 or 8 upgrades removed from having fully upgraded Halbs. And then your opponent also just still has the skirms, bro. Like, the skirms are still there. The skirms still do decently against the Halbs. The skirms are kind of everything. There's one castle for Valas. One. And Heartt, when he builds this one, will have 4 protecting the map. And honestly, should probably get more stone to build more castles here soon. What a game from Heartt. Valas is going to do his very best right now to build up one more force to try and deal with this. But it feels like Heartt has done enough here. The Cavalier are kind of revolting against him, but if he fights here, that should end up being more villager kills. And yeah, chat, you're right. There's 2 castles for Valas, but the fact I didn't notice that is because they're in the same spot of the map, which is kind of the point. As always, I'm just testing you. Making sure the class is paying attention, you know? And like, you want your castles all over the map. Kind of what Heartt has. I think he's been a little hesitant, some could say, in finishing the game. But you got to play it safe against Byzantines. He understands. He's just got to take it easy. He doesn't need any forward castles. The Imp Skirms completely dominate that fight. And GG's called. What a win. What a win. Look at the difference. And the army produced this game for a second. Look at that. 287 skirms against 168 skirms. And somehow, Heartt ends up winning that. Now, that is not because Imp skirms are just that much better. I think if you go fight with that amount of units against each other in the scenario editor right now, I think that Valas wins. But every engagement that Heartt was taking on land this entire game was slightly better. From Feudal Age to Castle Age to Imp, he was able to just micro way better. And behind that, despite not having any fishing ships, he had three TCs producing behind, and he had an incredible eco. Not every day you get to see that. I think Valas just lacked a little bit more of an edge with the fights. Heartt's micro just clearly a step up. Valas had respect for it, which you should have. But in Feudal Age was the problem for me. There were lots of spears that went down. And I wish I knew how many spearmen he produced in Feudal. Because obviously he produced some more recently. But like... Well, actually, he just started producing spears again. So let's just say he just produced 12 recently, right? The rest were probably in Feudal. I think he had 12 spears produced in Feudal. And I only ever saw 3 at maximum. Because Heartt just kept picking them off with archers. Scald Archer play was just too good. So, Heartt takes the first win. We'll pull up what that means for both players. And we're likely on to Fortified Clearing now for Valas, which again is the only map that he's gotten victories so far. So, Valas had a 10% chance to survive coming into this. And live standings puts that at... It puts that at 3.7% chance to survive. But I believe that would mean he would maybe need to win the next 2. And then 2 in the final series. Hearttt, though, he wants to get up there to 9 wins today. If he can get up to 9 wins, whoever wins the Dark Hearttt series will take first place in this group in the final week. So, and I think if he only gets 8 wins today, he would have to 3-0 Dark, and a 2-1 victory wouldn't be able to give him first. All right, so game 2. We've got Hearttt playing as the Portuguese. If there is a chance for Valas to snag victories, this is definitely the map for it. He's so good on these maps. And wow, we've got a gunpowder matchup. I mean, potentially. We could also have cav archers. We could also have arbalest. We could also have bombard cannons. It could be something other than the unique units, but both the Portuguese and the Turks can play standard. They have very, very good late games, but they also have amazing unique units. Heartt's not really a player that I would say usually goes for the unique unit approach. I would expect scouts from him and getting the relics and booming on 3 TCs. So maybe Valas will want to punish that with some aggression. Or, I don't know, maybe you're happy with doing that. Which civ do you think you would prefer in late game, chat? Let's say they both boom, relics are 5-4, and then it's, raiding and castles on hills and walls on the sides. It's that type of game. I think I would prefer Turks. Not having Halb and Elite Skirm is a big problem. But 14 range bombard cannons, fully upgraded hussars, and 100 HP cav archers is really strong. Yeah, I guess, how late game? If it goes super late game, then maybe you prefer Portuguese because of the Vitorias and Halbs and Skirms. So, I don't know. I wanted to ask that question so we could find a creative way to describe the matchup, and I think we did that. So, but super late imp, I guess you prefer Portuguese, but still only getting light cav is kind of rough. Also, Halbs without squires feels so slow. Like against cav archers, it's just ugh. I don't know. I don't like it. So there's possibility that Valas will go for the boom. I don't think he will. We'll go for the castle drop. I don't think he will. I think he'll probably go for the boom. But anyways, it's Dark Age on Fortified Clearing. So if you guys have questions, want to chat, this is the time. I'm going to finish my coffee that I didn't drink this morning. I have had more room temperature coffee than warm or cold coffee in my entire life. Because of streaming. Because I don't have time to drink it. And so it just sits here. Damn it, T90. Now I got to get the leftover coffee too. Yeah, it feels like a good time for it, Unless it's super late for you, then you probably shouldn't have coffee at 9 or 10 p.m. Unless your body can handle that type of thing. Ooh, a mug warmer. Yeah, I guess I could get one of those things. I don't know. I'm not like... It's not that big a deal for me. It's fine, but it's just an observation. Anton says, does anyone know the ELO? I mean, their ELO is very, 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 very high. 2,700, 2,800 maybe. I don't know where Valas is at versus maybe 2,500 or 2,600. It does really depend a little bit on how active they've been. Heartt's typically way more active on the ladder than Valas. But close to over 9,000, I guess. Heartt's one of the more active ladder players. It's a bit of a weird situation, but there's many players just don't really put as much priority on ladder, and then other players are really like it. I think part of that comes down to, are you a player who loves to play Arabia? If the answer is yes, you're probably active on the ladder. If the answer is no, you're like, I'm not going to play the ladder, I'll just do practice sets. I think that's probably half the battle. And then life and everything else. Okay, coin flip. Are they going to have the guts? Who wins? I'm going with Hearttt. Higher elo player always wins. No, Black Forest player always wins. Ah, it was the elo. I knew it was going to be the elo. That is amazing for Hearttt. They were both doing damage at the exact same time. And there's no real easy way to determine it there. Now, there were some tricks in the past. I don't know. Everyone's got their theories. But now, Valas, the player who gets light cap for free in the next stage, doesn't have a scout. So that's not so good. Now, usually the players who are more confident in getting those wins, they're not going to take that risk because they feel as though, wow, this is a fast uptime from Hearttt. But they're just like, I don't want to give my opponent an advantage. As someone who's an underdog a lot in tournaments, I take that risk every single time because I need a little bit of something extra or that's what I feel anyways. So that's probably what Valas was hoping for. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being too extreme in saying that, oh, careful, Hearttt. Okay, Heartt's going to go in there and stay there. He's now walled in. That's actually really good for Valas. Though it's, I guess, also kind of good for Hearttt. But yeah, you know, maybe Valas should be seen as the favorite here still. It's just with 2 wins, it's kind of hard for me to have a ton of belief until I start to see a little bit more. So on one hand, you walk in here with this scout, and you get to see what the opponent is opening with, which is good. But on the other hand, you now can't use your scout to scout the rest of the map and deny relics. So I think a lot of the positive vibes around having this scout were because I thought that he could heal it at home with a monk, and it would be full HP, and he could deny relics. But now he can't. Now check this out. Valas has built his barracks as part of the wall. Hearttt knows he's walled in. Hearttt is looking for the barracks. This would be so funny if Hearttt never sees that. Like, there's no reason for Hearttt to check the wall. It's not like he can kill anything with a 3 HP scout anyways. So he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you going to stone? Are you building a barracks? All right, Valas needs to build this stable outside of his walls. I'm not even kidding. Nah, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Okay, well, Hearttt will probably find that. I actually think walking a little bit further to build the stable outside of the walls is the better play. But now Hearttt knows. Maybe that's just a stupid caster comment. And Valas is going to click up. Hearttt will know there's going to be light cav. And Hearttt is super heavy on stone. Wow, he is going to go for organ guns. Okay. Well, you know the best build to be up against if you're going organ guns? Light cav. There's 2 things here that are probably solid enough against the other player going fast castle. A, going for your own fast castle. Or B, going for just straight boom. Now, it depends where the castle goes. If the castle's on your face and you're straight boom, maybe it's a problem. But basically, it's easier to you have better economy to defend, and you can go into like monks or siege or something. Light cav, I mean, we'll see where Hearttt builds the castle. You could argue the light cav scare a forward castle away, which is actually very good. But light cav don't help you against the organs. Hearttt, are you going to go forward with this? Why is he building a palisade wall there? Oh, I think he wants a line of free space for his vills, and he'll place the castle. Yeah, okay. I like that castle a lot, because walking forward could be too much of a risk. There could be scouts. You saw the stable. And this gives you access to this gold, and it also covers some of that stone later on. And you don't necessarily need to hide this. Valas will see it. Some players, not Hearttt, but some players would actually have still gone forward there and tried to drop it forward. Like, imagine if he dropped it over here. He didn't know about the gold, I guess. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But this doesn't feel like Hearttt is going to be adding a lot of eco here. This feels like all in. Now, siege is good against organ guns. And the thing that the opponent may add against siege would be monks, and light cav are good against monks. So on paper, this could be really this could be very winnable fight for Valas. But once the organ guns get to a certain number, the light cav just melts. And the organ guns are fast enough to move away from the siege. So it's a little tricky. And it's also hard to micro against organs because they fire different shots. like a bunch of different shots at different angles. So nothing about this is easy. Only 3 of them now. Valas tried to get a snipe. Mangonel's already on the way. 1 TC for both. So both players investing a lot into the army. But there's everyone's favorite unit, the good old organ gun. Slight sarcasm there. I think many of us have died against this unit. But I think the most frustrating thing is you can't micro to the side against it. It will still hit you. Oh, man. But it won't necessarily destroy siege very quickly. So your micro has to be on point here, and it is for Hearttt. Light Cav will see the monk and want it so badly, but I don't think you can go in there, man. And now I wonder if Hearttt can justify redemption. Split micro with the organs. This is confidence from Hearttt. 2 relics already. Sick. Wow, crazy confidence. Yeah, so they just don't do a lot of damage against Siege. Siege does a lot of damage against them if you can hit. So the next move for Hearttt should probably be Redemption, though. I don't think that you can play this micro game without getting burnt at some point, so. Yo, Lex Z, thank you for the Prime. Thank you, Biniaku, for the 25. What's up? And thank you, Archfrost, for the 44. Sorry, I missed it. Big micro moment. Hearttt backs away. Redemption about to come in. No sanctity, though. So even the Mangonel could kill these monks. This is where I expect pain and misery for Valas. Because Hearttt is playing this so good. And I really don't have faith in the Light Cav against the organs. I think that... Oh, God! They die so fast! They die so fast! And you're... Like, the monk dies fast, and now you're gonna try, and you're gonna take out the monks, but you can't. You just can't. Because you can't get in close enough to the monks. Armor came in late for Valas. He did have armor come in right after he lost the units. Maybe it could have made a bit of an impact there. But that obviously hurts massively. And Hearttt also still on stone. Could eventually build a forward castle and the siege gets converted. And it will be saved. And it will be saved. It's just such a stupid unit, dude. It's just such a stupid unit. Heartt's laughing to himself right now. Like, what is this? I mean, organs, you can argue if organs are too good or not, but Hearttt is too good, man. He's playing so good. This is not a setting. Like, you will never see Hearttt playing arena, man. Hearttt will alt F4 out of arena if he gets it on ranked faster than I will sip this coffee right now. But when it's tournament time, he can play it, man. He can play it well. And I think what Valas has gone for is the best way to counter this. Just unfortunately, the execution better for Hearttt. And Hearttt also planning about Imperial Age here. So he'll click up to Imp pretty soon, actually. We may even see Fatorias from him. And also adds to Heartt's micro, right? Because the only thing he's focusing on is this army. Just managing 1 TC. It's not as difficult. He knows that if he loses this army, he's essentially dead. His opponent's on 2 TCs. He doesn't know that, but that's the case. That was slowly building up another force here. And there's just a tower from Valas. Maybe Hearttt overextends. If Hearttt goes through here, it could be hard to back away. I don't think I've ever seen Hearttt build a Fatoria in my entire life. In these situations, Fatorias are insane because you're low eco and it adds a lot of resources. I think Heartt's probably just going to go forward castle, though. Love the outposts. Look at the line of bullets. Like, if you run through that opening, you will die. Unless it's with Siege. The Siege somehow survives a lot of those shots. Heartt's not prepping houses like he's planning to free up pop space for Fatorias. Valas is looking for a well-timed engagement. If he can clear this before Hearttt is an imp, before Hearttt brings Trebs, before these monks get more range, he will win this game. He is way ahead in eco now. Still no villagers forward. Hearttt is going to place the castle with 1 vill. Really? Okay, a couple more are coming to the party. And there it is. Okay. How do you think this fight's going to go, guys? It's about to go up. Valas cannot allow this castle to go up. He has to dive. He's got bloodlines. He's got full armor. He has upgrades he didn't have before. He'll dive for the monks. He'll dive for the siege. The Lightcav are doing good. The monks can't get conversions. And... the mangonels get converted. And all the Lightcav are dead. Oh, man. Hearttt was able to micro his way out of that. The mangonels even stay alive. The castle will go up. And the monks only get more range. Hearttt didn't have loom, bro. Hearttt didn't have loom. I mean, I'd say it's a risk if his micro and his control wasn't so good with his military there. It's not a risk if you're amazing. And he's played Portuguese in a way that just completely eliminates the question of which civ is better in imp. It doesn't allow the Turks to get to the hussars. It doesn't allow Turks to get to the cav archers. It's just immediate pressure on the opponent's face. Micro from Hearttt again. Very solid there. Backs away. And that castle's up, man. I mean, this is going to be Trebs soon for Hearttt on the TCs for Valas. Valas will struggle. Again, like, maybe you make knights, but knights get converted too. I really don't know what to suggest. Lightcav Mangonel, this should be one of the best civs to defend from this. Maybe it comes back to a couple of those units going down earlier. The first 3 Lightcav, maybe? Why does Valas not drop his own castle? Well, it'll get Treb down. You drop a castle anywhere in Vision, it just gets Trebbed. And you can't exactly go to your opponent's base either. Heartt's got full control of the map. And he's being very relaxed about this. We still haven't seen the Treb. He's using the castle more as protection than anything. But there's the first Treb. Valas will know that Heartt's 1 TC, all in. And so he's hoping there's still a chance here. I like the fight. Getting devotion for 2 opponent monks feels kind of rough, though. But I mean, you gotta look for any edge you can here, and that's obviously one of them. More TCs on the outside. Maybe that's something Valas can work with. Maybe Valas can run around here, attack from the outside. Valas is... Oh, that's a nice find. Kills a few vills there. Basically, I mean, Heartt's sending reinforcements through the middle of the map at all times, so he could maybe pick that off. But then he does need to defend his eco. Oh, boy! Valas has vills in the south on the way to drop a castle on Hearttt. This is about to get crazy, folks. Meanwhile, Valas is dropping a defensive castle to keep whatever he can alive. Also, sad woo-woo-woo noises. No, Valas doesn't need this in his life. Who put the wolves there? Lightcav are still active. Monks getting sniped. Valas may snipe a Treb. Mangonel flattens a lot of the organs. Is there a chance here? Hearttt? This is all before he gets castle dropped. Hearttt lost his monks. He has to delete his monastery. Oh my god! What just happened? I thought Hearttt had won this game. Valas is holding on, and Valas is dropping a castle. He is still being attacked by wolves. But Hearttt has lost every single working gun. It's like the second he didn't have the monks to convert the siege, and everything happened at once here. He's all completely fallen apart. He's lost most of his trebs. He doesn't have his organs. And he's not about to have gold either. Oh my god, dude. MBL in my chat says T90 turns into a grandma. What is that supposed to mean, MBL? What, the raspiness? Or the fat... Never mind. Why do I read MBL's messages? That just makes me feel bad. Lycav getting more clears up. Wow. This is horrible. Hearttt didn't see it. Hearttt is the grandma. Hearttt can't see it. He needs glasses. He doesn't know. He's so focused on the front. He's dead. He's actually dead. Valas is going to win this. What a crazy comeback. All jokes, by the way. All jokes. It's understandable Hearttt wouldn't notice this. Why would you expect that to be in the back of your freaking base when your opponent has sent so much to the front? Wow. Look at Valas' eco on the outside, by the way. Look at how many farms he has. Look at how patient he was. And now, Hearttt is hoping that Faetoria can bring in enough resources to recover. What a turnaround. And what a game. Man, I have never felt like someone was so screwed like that moment and had to turn around like that. I thought Hearttt had this game. I knew that Valas had the Vil lead, but I thought there was no way that he can engage against this army. I thought there was no way. So I actually need to go back and see. I mean, great job from Valas to be consistent. Amazing job. In the end, I think it was just the mistake of, or maybe just getting distracted by, mistakes may be a little harsh, by these Lycav. I think he was so focused on this that he is chasing it and worried about that, right? And so he, for once, wanders forward with his organ guns, thinking he's completely fine, and then he doesn't have his monks anymore. So, look, organ guns moving forward, no monks. Organ guns moving forward, no monks. Organ guns moving forward, no monks. And then, well, he did also kill a couple of his own villagers. Does Valas just notice the monks aren't there? Yeah, Valas just notices the monks aren't there, dives the castle. I mean, snipes the Trebs, lands a crazy shot there because Hearttt pathed through the mill, and there's not a single monk around to defend. Dude. That Mangonel had 12 kills on organ guns. And prior to that, it felt like that was a combination that could never be beaten. What a crazy shot. And honestly, let's say Hearttt doesn't overextend there. Let's say he doesn't overextend, and he still has his organs and he still has his monks. I think this castle produces enough chaos where Hearttt might not exactly be able to push for a while, and maybe Valas is still kind of okay here anyways. Now, I think Hearttt would still push. I think Hearttt would be pushing the castle. I think things get crazier. But this Mangonel just completely saved him there. That was insane. So, well played. Valas gets a win. Valas stays alive in TTL. This is also much better for the Viper. This is much better for Dark and their chances for the playoffs. Sick play. I thought he was dead. Crazy macro. And that's the thing. If you're going all in, the second you lose your mass, you're just completely toast. You don't have the eco to compete anymore. Well played from Valas. So, Hearttt in the red, Valas in the blue, game 3. So, I'm going to repeat myself for YouTube. Sorry, Twitch. But basically, it is going to be much more difficult for Hearttt to get first place now after that loss. I thought there was possibly a chance that he would 3-0 today. And I think the fact that I thought that he could 3-0 is maybe part of why I was so surprised that he lost the previous game. I'll admit it. I mean, Hearttt was just the favorite. And, I mean, that game was just Hearttt until it wasn't. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to have to get the win here. If he gets the win here, he's tied with Viper in the group going into the final week. But 2 wins behind Dark. And he will be playing Dark in the final round. So for Hearttt to get first, he would have to sweep. Yeah, he would have to sweep there and win 3-0 against Dark, which is still feasible. So Valas, he needs this win massively. For survival, if he loses this, I think he needs like a 3-0 or something on Daniel, which is maybe doable, but never going to be easy. I think Daniel will be very confident. I think the version of Daniel that we saw against Viper was really good, but he will be way more confident in himself when he plays Valas. So maybe we'll be able to close out some games. Hattie asking how many games are going to be played today and how many are coming. Well, it's 9 games today, but this is the 9th. So I've been live for over 5 hours now. We had 8 games before this. All good sets today. And almost the conclusion of the 4th round. So, first time we've seen Georgians, maybe ever. Georgians have been the most banned civ in every single tournament ever since they've been released, actually. It's a nice little fun fact for you. I might be missing some smaller tournaments, but certainly it's been the most banned civilization in this one. And the reason why is because of how well their bonuses stack up and also how well their people can make use of them. So the first thing is you start with the mule cart for free. A mule cart you can use on wood, gold, and stone, right? So you just start with one straight up for free, which means that you can hit some crazy timings when it comes to your dock in this situation. So Hearttt went 2 on wood, and he's already able to dock faster than the opponent is, who is going to have to go... Wait, what is the build for Valas? Oh, Valas didn't build a lumber camp yet. Yeah, I mean, he's going to have the dock super early because Valas isn't even prioritizing a dock, but... Yeah, so you can get the early dock, or you can just not go to wood at all. And if you don't go to wood at all, then you just have like a super fast uptime because you don't need to get wood at all in Dark Age. Their scouts regenerate starting in Feudal. So scouts, knights, cav archers all just regenerate HP. I think that's the main reason why people ban them the most, is just because people get so much value from that, and people will... I mean, you take a scout down to 1 HP... and it can be brand new, that's going to change every fight. You will not take an engagement against a Georgian scout in Dark Age because you will always know that scout will be brand new. It just really, at the high level, makes a big difference. So that's why it's been banned. You also have the Church. The Church also adds quite a lot to the work rate of the economies, which I actually think is an underrated bonus of the Georgians. Everyone just thinks about the military, but there's more to talk about. There's also the Manaspa. But I think Manaspa have been tuned down a little bit. They're not quite as broken. I think they are pretty reasonable, actually, because they have their weaknesses. All right, so Hearttt kind of has this... It literally is a wood line at the top of his hill. No problem there with the mule cart. And he'll bring another mule cart down to the bottom. What is this build from Valas? What is this? Valas is up faster than Georgians to win water. Huh. Now, this fight has been taken, right? And you just feel horrible if you're Valas if you don't end up killing the scout, because that scout will eventually be new. So you really should never take fights against Georgian scouts in Dark Age, in my opinion. Unless you're going to kill it. Wow, I've never seen this. This is not a build anyone has ever done. There's actually a chance he kills the scout here. He'll hit Feudal Age here in a second. This would be crazy. Heartt's not expecting this either. Heartt's uptime's insane. Heartt's like, huh? If he kills it before it can regenerate, Heartt's going to be so frustrated. Bro. Wow, that's nuts. That's crazy. Hearttt is up at 827. That is a fast uptime, man. I've never seen a Feudal Age this quick on this map. 804 from Valas. And the thing is, too, is Hearttt doesn't necessarily know... Well, no, I'm wrong. He'll know what his opponent's going to do. He sees the dock. He knows his opponent's just going to win water. And this should also tell him his opponent doesn't go for a barracks or stable, at least right away. So, that scout might just be popped on auto scout or something. Really should scout to see what Heartt's going to do. And Hearttt drops the barracks. And Hearttt is going to aim to stay alive on water right now. But Valas doesn't have any fish to protect. It seems like a positive when there's flames out here, but, I mean, has also been a negative because of the res collected, right? Like, Hearttt has benefited economically. This is... Your eco stretched really thin right now if you're Valas. But it might be worth it. I don't think Hearttt will be in a position to make the third fire. Hearttt also will miss out sheep. He didn't scout sheep either, so he is sheepless underneath his TC right now. Things are kind of rough for Hearttt. This is amazing for Valas. Yeah, Hearttt can't make the third fire because he isn't actively mining the gold. He's walking back and forth. So this timing is crazy good. But actually, hold on. One of the fires went down. That's really good for Hearttt. That's really good for Hearttt. I thought Valas was going to win water here. And now Hearttt should be okay with 2 fires versus 1, and he's getting more value from his fishing ships. Stable now from Valas. Will be tough to afford a lot of scouts, honestly, without any farms and just 6 on berries. So it might just be a scout or 2. Heartt's food eco is also kind of stretched thin, but that's why he has 9 on berries. So 9 on berries, and also these 2 fishing ships, and the villager on shorefish, which helps. So I don't know if it's going to work, but I actually really like the opening from Valas. I think this is pretty unique. For civs that have Dark Age eco bonuses, this is maybe one of the best things to do, because normally it's like, if you both try and do the same build, but the opponent has the Dark Age eco bonuses, you have big problems. Villager gets sniped, and as I said, that scout will regenerate. Now, slowly, but it will eventually be brand new, and Hearttt will make certain that he doesn't lose that. And he already sniped a Vil. Now he might lose the scout, actually. Bringing in another scout. Scout just gets clicked away. There is a demo in that dock. And there goes the demo now. Hearttt sees it, and Hearttt splits up the fish. Oh, and it might kill nothing. It might kill nothing. It kills something. But I like Heartt's position. I like his position a lot. I like the fact I'm seeing the farms here. He still has the fish. There are more farms for Valas, yes. But this is now a scout war as the Georgians, which is exactly what you want. And he really didn't let this fast uptime from Valas get to him too much. Still think Valas is in it. He has one of the better civs against Georgians. Georgians are normally going cav archers, or they're going knights. So Hindustanis are a really nice pick here for their camels. Again, I really like Valas' farming eco. Hearttt will just fight off the... Or actually just weaken the spear there. And that will even affect things a little bit as well, right? Normally, players are waiting until they have 4 scouts to fight off 1 spear. It does depend a little bit. They'll do it with 3, but... If your scouts will regenerate slowly, you're more comfortable taking some fights against some spears. I think there was a demo there. Just off screen. And Valas is not giving up water, but look at Hearttt, man. He blocks with his fishing ships. I mean, these tiny details have just been so good from him to defend from all this. But I still would say at this point, I'm not even certain how much the fish matters. The fish has already helped you if you're Hearttt. And I'd say from here, you could maybe eventually start to transition away from there. The scouts will go in against the spears. Hearttt loses the scout. You can't regenerate from the dead. So, that's not bad. Should be scouts out there for Valas. I guess there's 3 of them in here. That was a lot of patience. Hearttt might assume that there's not any scouts out. But the scouts aren't going to surprise him because Valas is still waiting. And Valas has the spears in position. Another scout down for Hearttt. Heartt's micro is usually so good. I'm just never expecting that. Even just 1 scout going down. Like, that's the standard that I have for him at this point. Don't think he knows about the scouts there. Now he will. Will he react to that, though? That seems like a forgotten scout. Okay, he loses that. I think he spotted it, though, in the final moments. He did tower the wood line. And he does have archers moving forward, but not protected by spears or scouts. So what he wants is these scouts to group up with the archers here. Yeah, and that's exactly what he'll get. Loops all the way over. He also knew about the scouts from Valas, defends from that. This is really smooth for Hearttt. Guys, I mean, game number 1, right, was so smooth and confident for Hearttt when he didn't have a single pond, when there was 4 ponds, and there was fish endlessly. Like, now it's just a tiny pond he has control over, and he's playing as the Georgians. There's no better position for a player like Hearttt. Still only 2-2 on the Eco KD, but really difficult for Valas to do any damage right now. It looks like he lost 2 scouts, and really difficult for him to defend from all of this. This timing with the archers is sick. He wants to defend with walls and get to Castle Age to go into camels. That's fine against scouts, but against the archers, you're going to be pushed off of your resources. Honestly, I'm really impressed with Valas as well, I have to say. And I think he's kind of proved me right in some ways that he's in way better shape than he was in the first 2 rounds. Like, game 1, to get those 4 pawns was crazy. Game 2, obviously, I thought he was dead. This game, the KD's rather even. It's still kind of dire, though. Because Hearttt just controlling the game with the archers and the scouts. Super comfortable. Baits the spears in to get some hits so he can kill them all. And now he's just sitting underneath the tower. And I mean, that micro is just insane. It's not even fair. And the confidence. Look, the archers aren't even getting hit by the tower yet. He's still underneath it. And now he backs away. He doesn't lose a single archer, too. They're so weak, but there's not much that Valas can do about this. And Valas just moved to this gold because he couldn't take the other gold. So it's just non-stop. Woodline will have a few archers behind it now. And Hearttt will click up to Castle Age here in a moment. Feels like Cav Archers is his play. It might be crossbow, though. I really like going crossbow against Hindustanis because you really don't want them going camels with success. But then again, if they're on stone, you might worry about Gulam. Kind of tricky. But yeah, the regen on the scouts gets stronger in Castle Age. Or just Cav in general, not just scouts. And that applies to the Cav Archers, which is why I think Cav Archers still probably makes sense. This should answer the question on the Extras channel why Georgians are always banned. I mean, honestly, the regenerating of scouts hasn't necessarily been this very clear factor as to why Heartt's ahead in this game. But his overall play with Georgians, and I mean, there's a lot, there technically is more potential for them, even still. Before we get to the other conversations, it's just really good. But yeah, I don't know what HP these would be at with other civs, but they're slowly going up. And anytime there's leftover scouts, they will use them with confidence, knowing that they will be brand new at some point. Now, Hearttt, 40 seconds away from Castle Age. Archers behind, getting cleared up by Valas. And Hearttt even fighting off the camel there. That's a new one. And full camel is the play for Valas. Again, staying in it. It's not easy. It's not great. But he's staying alive. Maybe some potential for some counterattacks here. Yeah, you can drop the churches now. Can someone remind me the percentage of increase on the work rate with the churches? Again, I think you remove the scout bonus. It's not banned. The civ isn't banned as much. But it's still insane because of this. It's 10%. Okay. So yeah, you can put your villagers inside of the churches to hide them, to protect them. And in a wide radius around the church, that increases the efficiency by 10%. Again, scouts, these will be brand new before you know it. And CA are now out for Hearttt. Really tricky for Valas to do any damage. He's made camels. It's what you want. But I don't think the camels can necessarily compete against this number of Cav Archers. Heartt's collected 3,000 more resources. This is the type of map. Like, Hearttt can compete with the best of the very best on this map. What Heartt's going to need in his skill set to go deep into the playoffs and potentially win this season would be some of the other maps. And I think he really improved on all maps. So I thought Hearttt would be... My prediction for this group was Viper first and Hearttt second. Odds are it could still be Hearttt second. But it might end up being Hearttt third and Viper second, because with the way Dark's played, Dark is most likely going to end up first. I'm really pumped to see Hearttt and Dark. That's kind of a playoff preview of sorts. Both those players are likely in the playoffs, and they'll play each other in the 5th round here. I don't think Heartt's drafts are necessarily... I think Heartt's drafts are really good, actually. I don't think it's... I never really cast Hearttt and think, why did he draft this or why did he do that? In my opinion, I think he's good. I think he's good there. At least he's like he's much improved there. I mean, he's improved in kind of every aspect of the play of the game. I think, like I said, I think it's a little bit of situational awareness in some situations. Like the Pacific Islands game against Andy, he's really going to want back. But immediately after that game, he should be able to know what went wrong in that game and probably tweak it in the future. So that's good experience for him. And Camels dive in for some damage. 2 get converted. And yeah, Heartt's flying right now. 2 TCs. 17 Cav Archers on the field. Ballistics on the way. 30 military against 6. And Valas knows how important every win is here, but this is not getting better. Like, he needs counter damage, but he can't actually do counter damage. If he tries to get counter damage, everything he makes will die. The only thing that he could hope for is that Hearttt doesn't find damage, and good luck with that, man. T90, have you talked to Dark about what he does now that he did not do before, or did he just train mega hard for this and others didn't? Honestly, with Dark, like, he's always, like, I've hyped him up many times before in other events and qualifiers, and then, you know, you just don't necessarily see the results that you think are possible from him. I think consistency is the biggest thing, and then when you get good results, I also think confidence. But I know that Dark trained a ton, but other players did as well. I mean, obviously, Viper didn't in his group, but I don't know if there's necessarily any magic ingredient, except for the consistency started to show, and the results were really good at the start, and that probably added a lot of confidence, and he's always had the potential. But I didn't ask him specifically and say, like, that could easily come off the wrong way. Where was this version of you before? What are you doing differently? Clearly something changed because you were trash before. No, I mean, I can word it in a better way than that. And maybe I can ask him and I can let you guys know if he changed anything. But I would say, again, the potential's always been there. He won the tournament, which was a tournament that didn't involve anyone who was ever top 8 in an S tier. He beat some big names. He beat Hearttt in the final, by the way. I was like 2 years ago or something. Guys, we are seeing Valas fight because he knows how tough it's going to be to survive if he loses this. Ooh. Well, he almost got the Cav Archers. But it's just, I really just don't see how he can recover. Hearttt is just all over him right now. These Cav Archers are just going to regenerate, so the damage he just did is completely useless. There's armies everywhere from Hearttt, and he's going up to TC number 4. Heartt's playing a perfect game. T90, that was 2024? Okay. So it must have been like early 2024 because it feels 2 years ago. I don't remember exactly when that was. I think eventually maybe Valas gets a big mass of camels. But Georgians do have Halb. So Halb Cav Archers is still a pretty reasonable way to play this here if you're Hearttt. He just has to be careful not to throw his advantage away. And he's being really patient. Good micro on the camels. Camels will be out of the picture. Monk will be down. Oh, maybe not. But Hearttt will see the score. And Hearttt will probably know himself right now. I've got this game. The safe place still isn't a forward castle. There's not really an obvious place for that. So you might just go for a defensive castle and go up to Imp here. But yeah, that's a good castle. Middle of the map. Doesn't actually protect a ton of stone and gold, but it's still an important area of the map to lock down. And Valas doing the math in his head right now. So what is it actually? So it'd be 3 wins for him, right? If Hearttt finishes him, which it feels likely. He would need to pass Andy. I don't think he can tie Andy. Wait, can someone... What happened in Valas Andy? I actually forget. We'll double check it. Because if... It would depend on the tiebreak situation. Maybe it's possible that he could tie Andy. Arbase says, if Hearttt wins, both Valas and Daniel have a 2% chance to survive. Okay, so that means they both have to sweep each other then. So that Valas-Daniel series will probably be... If one of those players sweeps, and if freaking Andy gets swept by Viper, then they can survive. That's interesting. That's... I don't know. I could kind of see it. I could see that snowballing. Like, Valas has played really good today, and maybe... I don't know. Daniel's just so good on open maps. Anyways, Heartt's on the way to Imp. Is losing some Cav Archers. Valas still fighting here. But even if all the Cav Archers Heartt has on the sides go down right now, I don't see an easy way back. There's just so much eco for Heartt. This is also where you could be stacking churches in different areas of your eco. So yeah, he's starting to do that. There's a church there. That'll help the work rate. You could drop a church here. That'll increase the work rate. Drop a church here. That increases the work rate. Like, it's still kind of underutilized at times. And these camels are going to go down. Wow, the caster just keeps talking nonstop. Well, it's kind of how it goes. I could just zoom in on this sheep and leave. But I don't think people would like that very much. Luwald, this is the last set of the day. We have results to look to. We have the schedule to look to. But this is the last series of the day. And I think Valas is going to tap out when he sees Imp here. And yeah, game was over for a while. Obviously, we have the results to look to, but Heartt wins. I think Heartt's going to want that second game back. If Heartt would have been able to get the 3-0 here, we had a situation where even a 2-1 victory over Heartt would have jumped him up the first place. We'll double check it. But Heartt is going to need a 3-0 over Dark in the final week to steal first place. And then there's still Viper as well to worry about, which we'll look at. But well played. I think this version of Valas was very, very solid. I think he was very close in game number 1. Crazy victory in game number 2. Game number 3, unfortunately, wasn't that close. But Heartt's one of the best players in the world on a map like this. I think kind of the unfortunate thing for Valas, and I've said the same for other players, like, it just, this version of themselves was maybe a little bit too late. If this was the Valas I saw in the first week, and the second week, maybe even the third week, maybe he has a few more wins right now, and things aren't looking quite as bad. But a lot of that could be opponents and matchups too. Maybe if you think you're already out, you play better because there's less pressure. That could be a factor to consider. But all right, let's confirm it here. So this will spoil the result at the start of the day, chat. If you did not see freaking Andy versus Dark, spoils the result, but I kind of already did. Dark's been an absolute beast. He's played amazing. So he got the 3-0 earlier today. Heartt ends up winning 2-1. And so with 1 round left to play in this group, we've got Dark locked to go playoffs, but 87.5% to get first place with 10 wins. Heartt is at 8 wins, which is tied with Viper. He is ahead of Viper on the tiebreak. And I think if Heartt and Viper are still tied, he will remain ahead of Viper in the tiebreak. Yes, that will never change. So Viper has to surpass Heartt. Viper would also have to surpass Dark. So actually, Viper can't get first. It's actually impossible because Heartt and Dark play each other. Okay, well, that's pretty crazy. So final series for Vipers against freaking Andy. Andy's got 85% chance to go 4th. Still somehow a slight chance to go playoffs. I guess that's if he sweeps Viper. Yeah, I think if he sweeps Viper, he overtakes Viper, goes into the top 3. So we'll see if that happens, but it's looking really rough for Valas and Daniel. So both Valas and Daniel need to sweep each other. If it is a 2-1 scenario, I think they're both out. Let's double check this. Yes. So this is if Daniel and Valas both took 1 game from each other, they would both be out. But if Daniel 3-0s Valas, let's say, and obviously the other way around, and then Viper 3-0s freaking Andy, which could maybe happen, they could be out. Or they could be back in, right? So if... Oops, wrong one. Viper wins 3-0. That would save Daniel. And then I assume that's also going to save Valas in the very same way. Yes. Okay. Actually, can Valas? And Valas can't win 2-1 because of the tiebreak. Yeah, okay. Valas can't win 2-1. So I think Andy's probably safe. I think Andy's probably good. I think Daniel and Valas are probably out, but I guess we'll have to see. It does depend on how hungry Viper is for victories, though, right? Viper doesn't have as much motivation to try and get first now. So, like, technically just like a win or two against Andy, and he's still going to the playoffs in second or third place position. You could, as a player, you could think about who do you want to match up against in the playoffs, technically. So let's think about that. So that's third in Group D, plays up against... Third in Group D, plays against second in Group A, which is likely to be Sebastian. And then if you're second in that group, in Viper's group, you're going to play third in Group A, which is likely to be Yo. I mean, is there a matchup there Viper prefers or Hearttt prefers? Like, both of them are kind of tough. It's not like those are easy matchups. So I hopefully we just see the players play to the best of their ability, and whatever happens, happens. But technically, you should be thinking about which matchup might be better for me, and that could be in the back of your mind.